Hi, Dr. Allison JK here. Really happy to be with you all. Welcome to April 2025. Hey, so feel free to please like, subscribe, and share the video, yeah? So I want to talk today in a mild way, because the work I do is progressively impactful, right? And so this is a free gig here, so I'm going to go cautiously because I don't know what you're going to do with the energy, rather than the way I am in the programs, where I can keep getting at somebody's system with clearings, activations, and buoyancy, which is what my hands are doing. What I'm wanting to talk about today is the divine feminine in regards to accessing more abundance. So I wonder if you're, caught in the trap right now of lack and scarcity and not enough money from the reactivity going on for a variety of geopolitical reasons that's in the collective and easy to grab upon as it floats by and make it your story, especially if you have your own unconscious and subconscious blocks around scarcity and lack. But I want to approach it from a bit of a different perspective, because what I just talked about was more of your thoughts. And connecting in with the divine feminine, there is this sense I got from about 2011, and without going into my story, I was just about to, but without going into all of the money workshops I was doing for people at that time, and becoming aware of what 2012 to 2032 is, abundance for all is one of the main tenets I got for the new paradigm, the new era that we're building, co-creating now. And so abundance for all, let me just put that on pause for a second. I wonder about what you're doing with your central nervous system. I wonder if you've done some of the work on calming it, activating the parasympathetic nervous system rather than the sympathetic go nervous system. So one of the other main tenets I understand about these times is we're moving each of us more into balance with our divine masculine and divine feminine. And one way to think of it is yang, masculine, action, outward life, observable, physical, tangible reality. Yin, feminine, inward life. The mystical, the metaphysical, before it physicalizes. So the black of the void of the womb and the yin yang is the yin, the feminine. The white is the masculine. What we can outwardly observe and see is in the light. Not to say that darkness is about darkness, but it's the inner work, yeah? So what I'm wanting to address is that sense of the divine feminine with the body, not the thoughts, right? Now, as I've talked about a bit in other videos, but I go into more in depth when you're actually working with me, the back of the house consciousness, the blocks, the beliefs that we don't typically hear the thoughts of, we just see the resulting thoughts, the resulting stories from the actual core of the blocks that are unconscious and subconscious, correlate to a specific chakra, depending on the content, yeah, of the belief. It goes to the relevant chakra that covers that domain of life. The root chakra, I'm not going to approach this through the chakras, but I want you to see the root chakra. A lot of people talk about as the main one to focus on for money. I don't think it's the main one. I think it's one of them. From all the work I've seen in the last 15 years, focusing specifically on money blocks and manifesting. So if you have learned from the masculine, and I'm going to now go into the patriarchy we've been under for the last bunch of centuries, there was an element of control that in power over, that is part of the collapsing paradigm, where there's been secrecy, there's been abuses of power. All of that's been coming to the surface in the last 15 years or so in an entirely new and voluminous way, unlike before. Again, a nickname for these times, 2012 to 2032, is humanity's greatest evolutionary leap. So then if we look at the feminine under the patriarchy, there's a lot about that control and that power over and abusive power, and that's all the toxic masculine. The toxic feminine is passive aggressiveness because of not having power. So one of the areas of abuse has been the body. And nowadays it's for both men and women. You know, you have to twist and contort to get your body to look a certain way in order to be considered hot, so to speak, right? Women have been putting up with this for millennia, right? And there's still the toxic feminine where women are competing against each other and judging each other rather than supportive sisterhood. There's a woodpecker, which always symbolizes drumming out a new rhythm for these new times, drumming out a new rhythm in new times getting created. That's the woodpecker pecking that's what my hand's doing. The woodpecker slamming its beak against the tree, drumming out a new rhythm to life. So if we weren't busy twisting and contorting and forcing our bodies and judging them, and we were as if there's a problem to fix, and we were instead engaging with our food and our drink in our bodies, in life overall, from a much more sensual perspective. That is in great part the divine feminine and abundance. I did not say sexual, I said sensual. So for example, Goddess Lakshmi, with her definition of abundance, is a Hindu goddess. There is this whole understanding of abundance of experiences in life that make you look at my body, it's how it's moving, that make you feel juicy, right? I know that like back in about 2012ish to about 2016, there was a lot of use of that word juicy, right? So the idea of when you're eating, and I challenge you to eat something different. You know, for those of us who travel globally a lot and experience different cultures, foods, we're used to this. I challenge all of you, no matter if you travel or not, to go for a different food choice and watch how your tongue feels with it. Chewing it, right? Your digestive tract will love you for that. Chewing it and really enjoying the sensuality of the presence of this item on your tongue and watching it go down your body, until, you know, it hits the tummy. Watching yourself swallow it and also doing that with liquid. You know, the difference between like a green tea, cold iced green tea, and like a Cabernet Sauvignon. The thickness on the tongue that the Cabernet is and the heat of the Cabernet versus cold liquid like green tea that's like springy. Like really starting to tune in to at a whole nother level, depending on wherever you all are at, to the sensual in life, the textures. And then with the body, beyond, you know, lovemaking, dancing, hula hooping, walking barefoot on the ground, but not to ground as much as to appreciate the textures and the sensual in life. Go swim in the ocean. A lot of you are. Go lay in the sun. Getting more rest for the body is also considered of the divine feminine. And so in that, you can see it is a different approach than the mind worried about lack, scarcity, not enough, clamping on to the collective story without self-mastery, without awareness of, wait, is this even my beliefs? Just all of a sudden going, ping, yes, lack, scarcity, high prices, interest rates, tariffs, And instead really tuning into what I've just gone through, as well as the earth, which is another aspect of the divine feminine. She's always giving. And the beautiful blossoms that are starting to happen now, and the swaying of a breeze, the tree leaves, bringing a gentle breeze on your face, and noticing the abundance all around you. Because that gratitude, also, I know you've heard this, will grow, that appreciation of all of, not just what you do have, that's not where I'm coming from right now. I mean appreciating all of the material. Because if you're busy rejecting money and focusing on scarcity and lack, you're rejecting material existence to a degree. And I know a lot of you who find me, you tend to be in personal development and self-help, spiritual industry types of programs a lot. And there's a lot of talk about like Akashic records and fairies and like unconditional loving angels. We're coming into the body. It says this here, yoga teacher and meditation teacher for decades, trained in India. Yeah? And the more that we do that, the less we'll be rejecting the material and the more we'll tune into wanting to care for our bodies. So that will help any of you with health issues to a degree, right? Tuning into your body and letting it feel safe. Choosing things that help it to feel safe. Things being like, do you go for a swim in the ocean, like I've already said? Do you go to a healing spring? Do you go for a walk in the forest so that your body feels nurtured, your body feels safe? So you'll notice I'm also doing a fair amount of talking about dropping down out of the mind, pumping out its typical storylines, and dropping down into the lower chakras, dropping down into the body, and enjoying the sensual. So I just want to take a moment to tune you in, as I've already been doing, to straight up abundance. There's more than enough for everyone. And it is your choice how much money you have. Beyond geopolitics, beyond socioeconomics, beyond all of it, you are choosing how much money you allow yourself to have. So is there deservingness? Is there a feeling of unworthiness? Is there a lack of deservingness? Is there a lack of receptivity for other reasons that you're applying to your money story? It's not about money. It's about you. And so I've just spent 11 minutes talking about how to retune to you, to have more of a frequency overall that is more akin to abundance. I have a gig coming up this week, if you are watching this before April 9th, or before April 10th rather, that will help you with this all. And so if you're watching it after April 10th, I'll put the link for that below. It's a ridiculously low cost gig where I'll be opening up these frequencies more to you all, as well as showing you a lot of other stuff. Not going to go into it here. So if it's beyond April 10th, I hope you've enjoyed the gains you've made. You are safe, you are loved, you are abundant, and you are living in abundance. And do whatever it takes to get yourself shifted into that vibration. With grace and ease, joy and love. Namaste.